Hey, in these videos, we're talking about how our love for the gospel creates a love for one another in the church. How our love for our Redeemer, Jesus Christ, creates a love for others who he has redeemed. And I want to talk in this video about the importance of one another ministry, the importance of every member ministry in which everybody who's part of the church family is playing a part in spreading the love of Jesus to others. What does one another ministry look like? The overarching kind of direction from Jesus sounds like this, quote, love one another. In fact, he says more directly, as I have loved you, so you are to love one another, John 13:14. But then how do we work that out in life? The New Testament gives us a whole bunch of these one another commands in which we can be that one for another in the church family. Galatians 5:13, for example, says, through love, serve one another. So how can you take some time, some energy, some gifts, some resources, and use them to serve others in the family of Christ? That's one way that you can be involved in one another ministry. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 says, bear one another's burdens. This is an important part of how we do ministry in the church. When we see a brother or a sister who is hurting, who is grieving, who is weary, who is weighed down in life, we go to that brother or sister and we say, I want to shoulder some of that burden alongside you. I want to walk alongside you through these deep waters that you're walking through. And as we do that, we create a culture that kind of reflects and shines the love of Jesus, right? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11 says, encourage one another and build one another up. And so in addition to just shouldering each other's burdens, we speak words that are meant to have an upbuilding effect in each other's lives, right? Hebrews chapter 3, verse 13 says, but exhort one another every day as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. And so alongside shouldering one another's burdens and alongside this call to build one another up with encouraging words, sometimes we need to talk with one another and warn one another about the deceitfulness of sin, about the deceptiveness of sin in our own hearts. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 9 gives us another one another ministry command. It says, show hospitality, show welcome to one another. And then Peter adds a note of kind of biblical realism. He says, show hospitality to one another without grumbling. And so in these ways, ranging from kind of serving one another in practical ways, shouldering one another's burdens, speaking encouraging and upbuilding words, warning one another about the deceitfulness of sin, showing hospitality and welcome and kindness to one another. In these ways and in a variety of others, we're each called to play our part in one another ministry. And so the question for you as a part of the church family is, how can you be one for another in the church family this week? How can you shine the love of Jesus to others in this church family? How can our love for the gospel of Jesus Christ shine through you as you shine something of a love for the church of Jesus Christ? How can you be one for another this week?